This is reposted.
I feel like I mentioned this on a recent show, but I've never had a more nervous moment signing my signature over the last 2 weeks. We just recently bought a condo, and when they had the notary out, and there was this moment where someone in this crew that we needed to sign on messed up their signature, and the notary went crazy. Then I was like, oh, hell, I'm going to screw this up. So today we're going to be talking about your signature. It comes from an article from the Best of Life Online Signature Analysis. The quote is, the way you sign your name says more about your personality than you think. I'm assuming, Andrew, because I know you kind of well, that you take some time when you sign your name to something and you don't just scribble something crazy.
Well, that's not the case.
What?
I do it. I mean, I think I was in fourth grade, and I was like, I'm gonna make a conscious decision to sign my name, like, because the A is like in cursive, it looks like a lowercase a, but it's bigger. I was like, I'm gonna change it to. I spent, I don't know, 45 minutes practicing what I wanted my signature to be, and now it is what it is. This is a really interesting article. I want to say that maybe the person that freaked at the notary that freaked out about the signature, it says more about their personality than the person that messed up.
Well, no, it's because this person like signed a date along with their name and they weren't supposed to do that. So it just made me think like, oh crap, this is something where it's not a normal just signature.
Yeah, when we signed our marriage certificate recently, the clerk like gave us put the fear of God in us. Like, if you mess this up, it's going to be $40 to redo. If you do this, like, it has to be in black pen. You have to sign the right line. If you cross the wrong thing, it'll mess up. So anyway, I went through this article. I thought it was interesting. What do you identify with as your signature? There's a bunch of indecipherable, underlining. You put a period after your name. Do you
Wait a
have
minute.
one?
When I read this, do you know anybody that signs their name and then underlines it?
I don't. I think the one of them says you're a titan of industry if you put a period after your name. I don't know about that. I think maybe you're spending a little bit too much time. Also, I think it depends. Like, if you have a normal job that you just do whatever you do, and you have to sign your name once a month or whatever, like, this would be interesting to understand. But like, if you work in payroll and you have to manually execute checks, or if you are signing often, I think it you can't look as much into a signature.
Do you know anybody that puts a period at the end of their name?
No, that's crazy. Why would you do that?
Oh, I want to start doing that. I read that. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start tight into the industry, put a period in my name.
Another one of the things they broke down is if you sign a nickname, you're fiercely independent. And it made me think of the notary. It's like, you can't sign a different name.
And like, how would you, like, all of a sudden you just start signing a name?
Yeah, like you just draw a wrench instead of writing Larry. I mean, but basically your signature is it was traditionally what your mark was, like, make your mark. And so it doesn't really matter what your name is. We recently wrote a bunch of thank you cards. And I mean, as long as you can decipher the A in my name, you use context and you're like, well, that's probably Andrew. And the other one's Nicole. So I think analyzing someone's handwriting, I'd go more into, but it was fun reading through this.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because after that experience with the notary, I kept thinking, you know what? It would be cool if I had a signature. Like, it would be if everybody like looked at me like, oh, that's how Larry signs his name. It's not like anybody looks at it anyways, but I was thinking like, oh, it would be nice if I actually had a legitimate signature, not a scribble.
There was a guy I knew in college that would sign, he would draw, he was a really good artist. He would draw this little man every time for his signature on a credit card receipts, because it doesn't really matter. It's just confirming that someone signed this purchase. Signatures, I don't even think really matter. It's just a proof of human. Like, no one's going to cross-reference this, I don't think.
Hey, you know, you're making my point. This is great because I can now do my signature like on a credit card and like put the period at the end. That's cool.
Yeah, you definitely can. You can do that. I mean, you could sign your name Karen. You could sign your name anything. You could sign your name Donald, and you can do whatever you want.
Well, you know, it's interesting because I was with someone recently, and they gave me they're like, hey, go buy us a round of drinks. And they gave me their credit card. And I was like, that hadn't happened in a while. I was like, oh, and I didn't really think about it until they asked for the signature. And I was like, oh, now I got to like, and you know, you just do the scribble thing and nobody cares.
No one cares at all. I mean, even with loan documents, I mean, you're proving your ID, but I don't think it really matters how you write it. And I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's more fun to analyze what people are. Another one, a straight signature. So if you draw straight, you're an even-tempered personality. What does that mean?
If the letters that make up your name are close together and create a short signature, it's because you're reactive, impatient, and have weak concentration, which is completely me. I mean, literally, I just scribble something because I'm like, this is a waste of my time. But I've recently been thinking like, hey, what's an extra 5 seconds to have a cool signature?
Right. But I agree with that. But in what instance? Is it on the touchpad at Trader Joe's when you're checking out? Or is it, well, I don't even think you do those that much anymore with the chip. But if it's, I don't know, if it's, I had a picture from college of me running the Buffalo, and
Yes.
I printed it out, and I had everyone that was in the picture sign it, and I gave it to my parents. And I something like that. I think it matters what your signature looks like. For a credit card receipt, I don't know. I think I identify with the indecipherable signature. You get the A, and I cross through the A, and everything else is kind of just a wiggle. And maybe I'm arrogant for thinking that doesn't make me arrogant, but I don't know if my signature is, maybe it's a little peek into my soul, but it's not.
It's a little peek. We get behind the door. You know, I was Googling this subject a little bit, and where it really matters, obviously, is for artists. Like artists and how they sign their paintings is a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how do NFT people sign?
That's
Zeros and ones.
I'll tell you how they sign. They sign digitally, Andrew. They sign digitally.
Right, which is zeros and ones. Yeah. Well, if you want a signature, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and the blockchain saying, I'm Andrew Keller for Larry saying, thanks for stopping by.